Good afternoon. As we start at 4 o'clock, we continue to follow the crash that has shut down I-70 for much of the day. This was the scene when Skyline first got there just a few minutes after 10 a.m.
Colorado State Patrol tells us a car slammed into the back of a tanker. One person died. It happened just west of Red Rocks and the Morrison exit and just south of Lookout Mountain. One of our viewers actually saw the crash happen and shared this view of the flames. Tim Klein tells us he was driving along 70 when he saw the car slam into the tanker. And you can see how bad those flames and the smoke was. You could see it around the metro area. Heavy black smoke quickly filled the area.
Yeah, that plume was seen by many people from far away, even as far south as Highlands Ranch. This a view sent to us from Keith. This down at Lucent and C470. And you can tell it was just a few minutes after the crash had happened. We continue our live team coverage of the crash and the impacts it's having today. Our Brianna Clark is live at the Morrison exit with more on the traffic delays that still exist.
But we want to begin with 9 News reporter Jaleesa Rosari with more on what we're learning about the crash itself. Jaleesa?
Yeah, we are along I-70 westbound. Hours later, and this scene is still incredibly active. There are a lot of fire trucks here, a hazmat unit, and a lot of first responders still here as they continue to investigate this crash. Now, let's take a look at some video from Sky 9 earlier today, shortly after crews responded to the crash. Here's what we know so far. The crash happened around 9:40 this morning. Colorado State Patrol says a westbound tanker overheated and parked on the right shoulder. A driver slammed into the back of that tanker, causing a fire that engulfed both the tanker and the car. It's not clear at this point why the driver crashed. Colorado State Patrol has confirmed the driver inside that car has died. They do not believe anyone else was in the car. The driver of the tanker was taken to the hospital. His condition is not known. CSP says fuel spilled into a culvert and across eastbound lanes and started a fire. Fire officials say it took about an hour to get both the car fire and the grass fire out. The EPA is on scene to oversee that cleanup process. Fire crews say at one point there were 15 different agencies working on this incident.
Really an evolving scene with both fire suppression, potential patient care, hazardous materials, managing traffic, vegetation fire. So this scene quickly became a fairly complex incident that required a lot of resources. So it's a sad incident to be a part of, and certainly our thoughts go out to the victim.
Now we want to show you video we received from a witness, really giving you a glimpse of how big this fire was. We spoke to that witness about an hour after the crash. He was still shaken up about what he had witnessed. This is what he had to say.
See, the driver got out of the truck and walked to the front. But I heard a couple of explosions. I think those were other cars that were behind the tanker. But you can barely see them because the fuel was just pouring out of that truck onto the cars that crashed behind him.
As you can see, crews are still working on I-70 westbound, but CSP says they are hoping to reopen I-70 eastbound. They're actually checking on the structural integrity of that highway before they open it up. They say it will likely, the eastbound side will be open before the westbound side. For now, reporting live in Jefferson County, Jaleesa Rosari, 9 News.
Yeah, it's hard to really understand what happened yet today, but as far as the impact it's having, that's 6 miles of one of the busiest roads, not just in Colorado, but in the western United States. It's going to be problems for quite a while.
It is going to be problems for quite a while, and I don't know if Brian can pan over here to my other side, but this is the traffic on 40 East. This is the traffic that's being diverted off of I-70 eastbound in the highway, and they're all trying to get in through Golden, I believe. This has been going on for hours like this, just a steady flow of traffic. So if you live in this area, please try to avoid getting on any of these roadways.
Wow. We're trying to keep everyone posted on when that might be opening again and find out more about what did happen today. Jaleesa, thanks. We'll see you with more at 5 o'clock. The crash today also had some Columbine High School students worried that they might not get to graduation.
Yeah, the biggest day of all, right? But the logjam from I-70 slowed families and students driving to Red Rocks for commencement. 9 News reporter Brianna Clark joins us live from Dinosaur Ridge, close to where that crash happened. And Brianna, you're hearing Columbine actually had to delay commencement because of traffic.
2 o'clock, but because of traffic, the band got stuck in traffic and they had to delay it by about 15 minutes. But the show did go on. It's currently going on right now, and several students graduated today, including Janie Cleary. But she was worried that she was going to miss it. Janie told me the first part of her drive was smooth. Then she hit traffic on I-70, and that is when the nerves kicked in.
The only thing I can do is wait, and I play some country music, Morgan Wallen, and then I'm listening to that, singing out loud crazy while waiting for the traffic to move on. And I was like, okay, hopefully I'll make it in time. But I'm glad I did. I'm glad I'm okay and I got here safe.
So while we were chatting with Janie, her parents and siblings were actually stuck in traffic. They did manage to make it. We walked around the parking lot right before commencement, and we talked to some students and staff who did make it here on time. They said they got an alert from the school telling them about the fiery crash and which way to go to avoid it. Live at Red Rocks, Brianna Clark, 9 News.
Okay, biggest day of all. Glad it worked out. And those are the times you actually wish your last name was at the end of the alphabet, just in case, but it all worked out. Okay, all right. As she said, she's safe. That's important. Thanks, Brianna. Because of the crash and the fuel spill, the city of Lakewood is monitoring possible impacts to Bear Creek Lake Park. Lakewood has crews putting out containment booms to capture potential fuel spillage to keep it from going into the bodies of water around the park. Across town, a separate high-impact crash involving another semi shut down lanes as well. 3 people were hurt in a crash involving 7 vehicles in Adams County.
Yeah, this one also happening just before noon, the intersection of 104th and Highway 85. 9 News reporter Steve Stager's been out there this afternoon. Steve, this is a pretty bad accident. What's the latest?
Yeah, Tom, you know, the Commerce City Police Department for much of the day called this a hit and run crash, but we just heard from CSP within the last hour, and they clarified that all 7 vehicles involved in this crash stayed on scene at the time. The intersection here was closed for much of the day. Highway 85 in both directions was closed as police investigated this crash, where a trailer from a semi-truck was pointed one way and its tractor was pointed the other way. They were both pointed different directions on Highway 85. CSP says they got this call around 11:36 this morning, and this crash sent 3 people to the hospital, though the State Patrol wouldn't give us the extent of those injuries. By the time we got here, we spotted vehicles with different severities of damage. One Kia spotted flipped on its side. Another SUV was sideswiped by that semi-truck. Jamie was on the passenger side of that SUV, the side that was hit. She had minor burn on her arm from where the airbag deployed. She says she watched as the driver of this semi-truck appeared to swerve into stop traffic to avoid another vehicle, cutting it off.
I mean, at first you don't even know what happened, you know, it happened so fast. And then I looked up and I saw the one car plow into the other one that tipped it over, and I mean, just scary.
So both Highway 85 and 104th are both open at this hour. After that long investigation, they finally got the semi truck out of here. I asked CSP for the cause of this crash. They say that's still under investigation. For now, we are live in Adams County. Steve Stager, 9 News.
It's been a tough day out on the roads.
Really, and on a beautiful day. Thank you, Steve, because we're going to make a transition to lighter, brighter things. Look at the weather. Yeah, it's gorgeous outside.
A lot of blue sky over downtown. We got up into the 70s today. Still a chance for storms this afternoon because here we are in the back half of May. So let's get to Kathy and see what is in the offing. Hi, Kathy.
Hey guys, after a bad news day, how about some good news from the Weather Center? We have a beautiful forecast for your Friday and your weekend. You remember last weekend, the snow, the hail, the sleet, the rain, the cold weather, completely different forecast heading into Friday and Saturday. Evening drive is well underway with clear skies and light winds. We've had a beautiful afternoon in the mountains, maybe a little bit of moisture coming that way with a front that we're tracking for Saturday. But overall, a warming trend heading into the weekend. We're tracking isolated storms to the south of the metro area tonight. Generally a drying trend, but temperatures are going to warm into the 80s over the weekend. When do those thunderstorms return? These are things we're going to be talking about in our weather segment. We're 72 degrees in Denver right now, 81 in Ray, 76 in Lamar. Winds are light out of the east and southeast at the surface, not really a big factor over the higher terrain. We're kind of in between storm systems with high pressure coming our way from the west. And as it does, the storms will will shift south and east away from us. The isolated storms that we're seeing here, you see garden variety, nothing severe. The severe weather threat is outside our state's border for this evening. And really, other than just a few high clouds and maybe a shower around Perry Park or Castle Rock, we are headed into a beautiful evening and a wonderful Friday. I will detail all of it for you in weather in just a few minutes.
Thank you, Kathy. It did not take very long for an Arapahoe County jury to find Joseph Castorena guilty on 4 counts of first-degree murder. He was on trial for the killing of 4 people in 2022 before he then fled to Mexico.
And now he'll spend the rest of his life in prison. 9 News reporter Janelle Finch is joining us now after sitting in court for the verdict. Janelle?
All this morning, a jury considered the future of Joseph Castorena. Just before 12 p.m., the jury found him guilty of 4 counts of first-degree murder and 1 count of attempted murder, criminal attempt to murder. Joseph Castorena faced a jury for the last time today, That jury unanimously found him guilty of murdering 4 people October 2022. Prosecutors say Castorena's ex, the mother of his children, was trying to leave him and filed a restraining order against him. He came to a house in Aurora to kill members of her family. Castorena shot and killed his ex-partner's father, her sister, her brother-in-law, and another person on the property. He attempted to kill his ex, but she got away and was not hurt. Family of the victims held one another and cried after the judge read all the verdicts this afternoon. Castorena's family left the courtroom yelling in the direction of the prosecution. Castorena's sentencing is set for September 3rd. In the studio, Janelle Finch, 9 News.
Yeah, quite a story, a very traumatic story that we remember well. Thank you.